Hello and welcome back to Late Night Talks with Giulia. Today we are going to be meeting Cleopatra.
Cleopatra, the eighth Cleopatra, was the daughter of King Ptolemy XII Attila, born in 69 BC, as the Princess of Egypt. She became Queen of Egypt at the age 18 after the death of her father and her two older sisters. As queen, she had to marry her 10-year-old brother because it was a royal tradition. When she was queen, her subjects worshipped her as the goddess Isis, which was one of the most powerful goddesses. Cleopatra was constantly fighting against Rome and was very smart on the battlefield because of her years of study. She also had affairs with two very important men, which were Julius Caesar and Mark Antony. And many people say that she was so charismatic that she caught their attention right away. Cleopatra was a queen that was willing to do anything for Egypt. She fought till her very last breath when she was captured by King Octavius in his attempts to control Egypt. Although Cleopatra didn't win the battle, she had an honorable death where she committed suicide dressed as the goddess Isis at only the age of 38. Cleopatra had many biographies written about her because she was a strong female leader that changed the course of Egyptian history.
We will now go to my time machine and bring her back to the future. Okay, now it is time to choose a date for my time machine. I will choose 51
BC.
starting now. Initiate.
You called?
Okay, now you can take a seat on the couch and we shall begin the interview.
Okay, cool.
Okay, Cleopatra, I have a couple questions to ask you before you go back in time and rule your kingdom.
Okay, hurry up. I don't have all day.
Okay. Nowadays, many people believe that your relationships with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony were solely based on your wish to become allies with them and to gain their power. How would you respond to these people?
Well, Gelga, my personal relationships with Mark Antony and Julius Caesar were not entirely directed towards acquiring their power. When I first met Julius Caesar, I was impressed by his intelligence and self-confidence. I knew that we would match each other well in battle and in a relationship. I would respond to the people by saying that Julius Caesar was a person of my intelligence level that would indeed help Egypt. I did also believe that our child named Caesarion would help me restore Egypt to its precious glories. My number one goal as queen is to always help my people. But if his people didn't murder Caesar, I would have married him out of affection. Mark Antony and I had a very similar situation. At that point in time, a civil war was about to break out between Brutus and Catus.
Oi, moi.
I know. Against Antony and Octavius. I did not trust Octavius, but I liked Antony and believed that he could eventually become an ally of Egypt. So I aided Antony and Octavius, even though Octavius eventually went against us. Antony was always loyal, and I did truly wish to marry him. In part, I had a relationship with these men because of their power, and would have gotten married if that was possible.
Many people believe that the Battle of Actium was doomed from the start, and that the plan was to play defense, and if something went wrong, it was to flee. And that you were too much of a coward to actually fight Octavius. Now that you know the outcome of this battle, would you have fought it differently?
Okay, it is true that the strategic plan in the Battle of Actium was to act offensively. Okay, this was only because I did not have as strong of an army as Octavius had. Antony's and my soldiers were not trained to the same caliber army. Okay? Octavius had also destroyed our Navy supply base, so we had less supplies. That's not fair. If I could have fought the battle any differently, I would not have brought so many treasure hidden in the flagships of my ships. At that time, I thought that we would need to have treasure nearby so Octavius couldn't raid Egypt. Now I realize that I should have just kept my treasure well guarded in Egypt so that abandoning my fleet of ships would not be as costly. I also realize now that Antony and I shouldn't have placed our base near a gulf because Octavius easily blocked us in and we barely escaped. In response to the first half of your question, it's a really long question. I was scared of Octavius and we did not plan an escape because we knew it would be really difficult to win this battle. I do believe thinking we would lose this fight was justified because in the end, Antony did lose almost all his ships, which is really rude. And without an escape plan, we would have died right away. That would not be good.
Okay, I see your point there. It's okay. Do you think how you grew up affected how you ruled as queen later on in life because it was such a competitive environment?
It is true that when I grew up, I lived in an extremely competitive environment.
That's not good.
My 2 older sisters, my younger half-sister, and my 2 younger half-brothers all wanted the power of the throne. Ha! I was like, it's mine. Back off. This is because all of our guardians wanted their share of power. And if the child that they were watching became king or queen, the guardian would advise the child. As a young child, I was one of the only kids who weren't constantly thinking about becoming the queen of Egypt. I started studying and learning from a young age.
Good for you.
I know. And I really understood the beauty of art. This gave me an advantage because my father was very appreciative of the arts. So many people thought I was his favorite child. When my father left Egypt to go ask for help in Rome, my oldest sister tried to take over. I was quite mad at this because I was so loyal to my father. I believe that learning this kind of loyalty at such a young age helped me become extremely loyal to Egypt when I was queen.
I understand that. I'm loyal to goats. My goat kingdom, they are my people. I'm loyal to goats like you loyal to Egyptians. Continue.
You're weird. I also believe that since I wasn't constantly fighting for the throne, I received a great education. This education helped me throughout my entire life. For example, I was always helping Antony with the military plans, and I had an opinion that was valued in many ways. I do believe that growing up in a competitive environment affected my role as queen, but in a positive way.
Good job, Cleopatra.
Thank you.
Okay, for our last question of the day.
Yeah.
When your children were born, did you realize the political risk that they were being put in by being the sons and daughters of extremely powerful men?
I loved my children and wanted them all to become very successful in life. Part of the reason that I had all 4 children was because I thought that having extremely powerful fathers would help Egypt and make them successful. I named my first son Caesarion because I thought he would grow up with the support of Rome and be an all-powerful man like his father.
His father was Caesar, right? Julius Caesar.
Yeah.
Wait, wasn't Wasn't he the one who got stabbed to death because people thought he was a horrible ruler?
We don't focus on that.
Oh, okay.
It's a secret. I believed that he would give Egypt a strong ally. So, in some ways, he was born for political reasons. For my other 3 children with Mark Antony, I had a similar considerations. I named my other 3 children Cleopatra, Selene II, Alexander Hilaros, and Ptolemy Philippus. All these names represent powerful people and goddesses. I had expected that all 3 of these children would rule parts of the world.
I completely understand.
Good, I told it really well. I had expected that all 3 of these children would rule parts of the world. I could not have known that they would all die besides Cleopatra Selene II. Nonetheless, these children were also born for political reasons.
Oh my gosh.
You know, they were all supposed to rule parts of the world and help expand Egypt. So yes, I realized that my children were in some danger because of who their fathers were. But I also believed that they would help Egypt in many ways, which was my number 1 priority as queen.
In conclusion, Cleopatra was a loyal and powerful queen. She was an extremely intelligent woman who fought till the end to keep her country free. As we clearly saw, she didn't have the easiest time growing up, but she learned from her environment and became one of the most important and charismatic queens in Egyptian history and world history. Thank you for watching. Bye.